Stop, my beloved child. Yes, you. Before you scroll any further, before you let your mind drift to tomorrow's worries or yesterday's regrets, pause. This is not random. This is not just another message blending into the noise of your day. Tonight carries weight. Tonight carries purpose. And I am the one calling you to be still. You have been moving quickly, haven't you? Filling your hours, filling your thoughts, filling the silence so you would not have to face the questions rising quietly in your heart. But I am gently stepping into your path right now, not to frighten you, not to shame you, but to awaken you. There are moments in life that pass like ordinary hours, and then there are moments that are doorways. This is a doorway moment. I see the pace you have been keeping. I see how you tell yourself, I'll deal with it later. I'll pray later. I'll rest later. I'll listen later. But later has been stretching into weeks, and weeks into months. And all the while, I have been patiently waiting for your attention, not because I need it, but because you do. There is something I must tell you, something your heart has been aching to hear, even if you could not put it into words. Do not ignore my message tonight. Not because I am angry. I am not angry with you. I am your father. I speak because I love you. I interrupt because I care. If a child walks toward a cliff without seeing the edge, would a loving father remain silent? No. He would call out. He would say, stop. Not to control the child, but to protect them. My beloved child, there are decisions forming in your thoughts. There are patterns quietly shaping your future. There are voices around you that do not carry my heart for you. And if you keep moving without pausing, you may miss the gentle course correction I am offering tonight. This is not a message of fear. It is a message of rescue. It is a message of alignment. It is a message of love wrapped in urgency. You feel it, don't you? That slight tug in your spirit. That sense that something needs to change. That whisper that says there is more. That whisper is not your imagination. It is my voice threading through the noise. I am not shouting at you. I am calling you closer. Tonight is not about guilt. It is about awakening. It is about remembering who you are and whose you are. It is about stopping long enough to let my truth steady your heart. You have been strong for so long. You have carried so much. But strength without direction can lead you far from peace. So I say again, gently, but firmly, stop. Breathe. Listen. Do not ignore me tonight. What I am about to reveal to you will shape more than this evening. It will shape your steps, your confidence, your clarity, and your future. And I would not interrupt you unless it truly mattered. My beloved child, now that you have paused, let me speak to the place in you that feels unseen. You carry more than most people realize. You have learned how to smile while your thoughts feel heavy. You have mastered the art of saying, I'm fine, even when your heart whispers, I'm tired. But I see what you're carrying. I see the responsibilities that press against your shoulders the moment you wake up. I see the expectations you place on yourself. I see the silent comparisons that creep into your mind when you look at others and wonder why your journey feels harder, slower, or lonelier. You may believe no one truly understands the weight of it all, yet I understand it completely. You have been strong for everyone else. You have been the dependable one, the listening ear, the problem solver. And somewhere along the way, you began to feel that you must not fall apart. You told yourself there is no room for weakness. So you tuck your fears away. You swallow your tears. You push forward, even when your spirit feels thin. But my beloved child, You were never meant to carry life alone. I see the worries that visit you at night when the world grows quiet. The thoughts about finances, relationships, health, the future. I see the what-if questions that circle in your mind. What if I fail? What if I disappoint them? What if things never change? These questions feel loud to you, but they are not stronger than my promises. I also see the wounds you do not speak about. A disappointment from someone you trusted. The opportunity that slipped through your fingers. The prayer you prayed with faith that has not yet been answered. Each of these moments left a mark. You tell yourself you should be over it by now, but healing does not follow a clock. And I am not impatient with your process. You sometimes feel guilty for being tired. You think others have it worse. I should be grateful. And yes, gratitude is beautiful. But do not shame yourself for feeling weary. Even the strongest hearts grow tired. Even the bravest souls need reassurance. You are not weak because you feel overwhelmed. You are human. And I formed your humanity with tenderness. I see the dreams you quietly set aside because life became practical. I see the passions you buried under responsibility. I see the version of you that once felt lighter, freer, more hopeful. That version of you is not gone. It is simply waiting for breath again. And I am the breath that revives what feels dormant. You may think that your struggles are too small to bring to me, or too messy to lay before me. But nothing about you repels me. I am not intimidated by your anxiety. I am not frustrated by your doubts. I am not exhausted by your repeated worries. I am your father. When you feel heavy, I lean closer, not farther away. Imagine a child trying to carry a bag that is too heavy for their small arms. The child strains, insisting, "I can do it." And the father watches with compassion, knowing the child's strength has limits. At the right moment, he kneels and says, "Give it to me." Not because the child failed, but because the father delights in helping. That is what I am saying to you now. Give it to me. Not just the polished prayers, not just the hopeful words. Give me the confusion. Give me the frustration. Give me the questions you are afraid to speak out loud. You do not have to filter your heart with me. I already know it fully, and I love you fully. You have been carrying burdens that were never assigned to you. Some of them come from trying to control outcomes that are not yours to control. Some of them come from believing you must earn love or approval. Some of them come from holding on to past mistakes as if they define your future. But I do not measure you by your worst moments. I see your heart. I see your intentions. I see your resilience. My beloved child, let this sink into you tonight. You are not invisible. Your silent tears have been counted. Your whispered prayers have been heard. Your effort hath been noticed. Even when others overlooked you, I did not. And as you continue listening, know this truth as your foundation. I am not calling you to stop so I can accuse you. I am calling you to stop so I can lift what has been weighing you down. I see what you are carrying, and I am ready to carry it with you. My beloved child, you may wonder how you arrived at this very moment. Perhaps you stumbled upon this message by habit, or perhaps it appeared in your path unexpectedly. You might be tempted to call it chance, timing, or even luck. But I tell you with certainty, this is not a coincidence. Nothing about your life is random to me. Before you woke up today, I already knew the thoughts that would trouble you. Before you felt the heaviness in your chest, I understood its source. Before you clicked to listen, I had already prepared this moment as a meeting place between your heart and mine. I do not operate in accidents. I move in purpose. You see fragments. I see the whole picture. Think of your life as a tapestry being woven. From where you stand, you see loose threads, knots, and colors that do not seem to match. Some seasons look dark and tangled. Some experiences feel misplaced. But I am the weaver. I stand above the frame, guiding every thread with intention. What feels random to you is carefully placed by my hand. Even the delays you resent have served a purpose. Even the closed doors that confused you were part of a greater protection. You thought certain opportunities slipping away meant you were forgotten. But what if those moments were redirections? What if what did not work out was actually clearing space for something better aligned with your destiny? My beloved child, I guide more than you realize. There were conversations you did not know I shielded you from. There were paths you almost took that would have drained you. There were decisions you delayed, not because you were weak, but because I gently restrained you. Sometimes my protection feels like disappointment. Sometimes my guidance feels like uncertainty. But I am always working with foresight. You may replay certain memories and ask, why did that happen? Why did that fall apart? Why did that person leave? And while I may not reveal every answer tonight, I want you to trust this truth. Nothing was wasted. Not your tears. Not your mistakes. Not even your detours. I can use every part of your story. There is a reason your heart hath been stirred lately. There is a reason you have felt restless in certain areas of your life. That stirring is not random dissatisfaction. It is divine prompting. It is me aligning your spirit with the next step. When something inside you says, there must be more, that is not ingratitude. It is awareness. It is the beginning of awakening. You may think you are searching for answers, but in reality, I have been drawing you closer. I place gentle reminders in your path. I send encouragement at the exact moment you feel weakest. I whisper hope when you are about to give up. These are not accidents. They are evidence of my involvement. Imagine a shepherd guiding a sheep along a narrow mountain path. The sheep sees only the rocks beneath its feet. It cannot see the cliff ahead or the safe valley beyond the turn. But the shepherd sees it all. He taps gently with his staff when the sheep wanders too close to danger. He calls softly when it drifts. The sheep might think it chose the safe path on its own. But the shepherd's guidance was always there. That is how I guide you. Even your curiosity tonight, even your decision to keep listening, is part of a greater unfolding. I am not forcing you. I am inviting you. I am aligning moments, thoughts, and circumstances so that you can hear me clearly. Do not dismiss this as ordinary content or passing emotion. Your spirit recognizes truth when it hears it. That recognition is not coincidence. It is connection. My beloved child, I orchestrate meetings between you and purpose. I arrange intersections between your pain and my promise. I allow certain questions to rise so that I can answer them in deeper ways than you expected. You are not here by mistake. You are not listening by accident. You are not walking through this season without design. Tonight is part of a pattern, a divine pattern. And I am gently revealing that I have been involved all along. My beloved child, now that you understand this moment is not an accident, I must gently show you something that has been quietly stealing from you. It is not always loud. It does not always look harmful. In fact, it often appears productive, entertaining, or even necessary. But it hath been pulling at your focus little by little. It is distraction. Distraction rarely announces itself as danger. It disguises itself as busyness. It fills your schedule so completely that you barely have space to breathe. It convinces you that as long as you are moving, you are progressing. But movement is not always direction. Activity is not always purpose. You wake up, and your mind immediately begins racing. Notifications, responsibilities, conversations, unfinished tasks. Before you even pause to center yourself, the world has already claimed your attention. And by the end of the day, you feel drained, yet unsure of what truly mattered. My beloved child, the enemy of your peace is not always pain. Sometimes it is noise. Noise keeps you from hearing my whispers. Noise keeps you from recognizing subtle shifts in your spirit. Noise keeps you reacting instead of reflecting. And when you are constantly reacting, you lose the stillness required for clarity. You tell yourself that you will slow down tomorrow. You promise that you will spend quiet time with me later. But later keeps moving further away. And in the meantime, small compromises begin to form. Not dramatic mistakes, just slight misalignments. A choice made in haste. A word spoken without thought. A relationship nurtured without discernment. Distraction dulls sensitivity. Imagine trying to tune a radio to a clear station while static blares in the background. The signal is there. The music is playing. But unless the interference is removed, you cannot fully hear it. That is what constant distraction does to your spirit. My voice does not disappear. It is simply crowded out. You have felt it before. That inner nudge telling you to pause before saying yes. That gentle hesitation before stepping into something that looked appealing on the surface. But because you were moving too quickly, you ignored it. And afterward, you wondered why you felt unsettled. I do not tell you this to accuse you. I tell you this to awaken you. There are patterns in your life that thrive on distraction. Habits that numb instead of nourish. Conversations that entertain but do not edify. Commitments that drain your energy without feeding your purpose. You have grown used to them because they are familiar. But familiar does not always mean healthy. My beloved child, distraction is subtle because it feels safe. It does not confront you directly. It simply redirects your focus away from what matters most. And over time, small redirections can lead to large distances. Think of a ship sailing across the ocean. If its compass is off by just a few degrees, the error seems small at first. But over miles and miles, that slight shift leads to an entirely different destination. In the same way, small daily distractions can gently pull you away from the path I have set before you. I am not asking you to withdraw from the world. I am not asking you to abandon responsibility. I am asking you to become aware, to notice where your energy is going, to examine what consumes your thoughts, to question whether what fills your hours aligns with what fills your soul. You were not created to live scattered. You were created to live intentional. When you give your attention to everything, you dilute your impact. When you allow every voice to influence you, you lose clarity about mine. And when your heart is constantly divided, it struggles to rest. My beloved child, I am calling you back to focus, back to simplicity, back to alignment, not with pressure but with peace. Not with rules, but with relationship. Let tonight be the moment you recognize what has been quietly stealing your attention. Let tonight be the moment you choose presence over pressure, stillness over noise, purpose over distraction. Because when you clear the noise, you will hear me more clearly than ever before. And what I have to say next will guide you safely forward. My beloved child, long before this very moment, long before you pause to truly listen, I have been speaking to you. Not always in thunder, not always in dramatic signs. Most often, I have spoken in whispers. You have felt those whispers. They came as a gentle hesitation in your spirit when something did not feel right. They came as a sudden sense of peace when you were anxious about a decision. They came as a quiet thought that seemed wiser than your fear. Those were not random feelings. That was me. I do not always shout to get your attention. I prefer closeness. Whispers are meant for intimacy. When someone whispers, they are near. And I have always been near you. There were times you sensed you should walk away from a conversation, even when it would have been easier to stay. Times when you felt prompted to reach out to someone unexpectedly. Times when you considered taking a step of faith but talked yourself out of it because it seemed too small, too simple, or too uncertain. In each of those moments, I was guiding you. But my beloved child, fear can be loud. Doubt can be persuasive. And the world around you rarely encourages stillness. So sometimes you dismiss my whisper as imagination. Sometimes you mistook it for coincidence. Sometimes you silenced it with logic because it did not fit your plan. Yet I never stopped speaking. I am patient with you. I understand how easy it is to confuse my voice with your own thoughts. That is why my whispers carry peace, even when they challenge you. Fear rushes. Fear pressures. Fear accuses. But my voice steadies. My voice reassures. Even when I correct you, there is no shame in my tone. Think of a parent teaching a child to walk. The parent does not shout from a distance. He kneels close and says softly, "Come toward me." His voice is calm, inviting, encouraging. That is how I speak to you. I call you forward with love, not force. You have experienced moments when something inside you said, "Pause." And when you ignored that pause, you later wished you had listened. Not because I punished you, but because wisdom was offered and overlooked. Those experiences were not meant to condemn you. They were meant to teach you to recognize my rhythm. My whispers often come before the storm, before confusion grows louder, before consequences become heavier. I nudge you gently while the path is still easy to adjust. I guide you early so that you do not have to learn everything the hard way. But sometimes, when whispers go unnoticed, I must speak more clearly. That is why tonight feels different. This is not a whisper. This is a loving call to attention. Not because I am frustrated, but because you are standing at a sensitive point in your journey. There are choices forming. There are habits solidifying. There are relationships deepening or fading. And I do not want you to drift without awareness. My beloved child, my desire is not control. It is closeness. When you learn to recognize my whisper, you walk with greater confidence. You second-guess yourself less. You move with peace instead of pressure. You begin to trust that inner calm more than external noise. The more you respond to my whisper, the clearer it becomes. It is like tuning your ears to a familiar melody. At first, it may blend with background sound, but over time, you recognize its tone immediately. My voice carries love without fear, correction without condemnation, direction without confusion. Tonight, I am reminding you that I have never been silent, even when you felt alone, even when prayers seemed unanswered, even when circumstances overwhelmed you. I was speaking through intuition, through unexpected encouragement, through subtle shifts in your heart. You were never navigating blindly. You were being guided quietly. And now, as I speak more directly, understand this. The whisper and the call come from the same heart. A heart that loves you deeply. A heart that refuses to let you wander too far without drawing you back. My beloved child, begin to pay attention to the gentle nudges again. Do not dismiss them. Do not rush past them, because the whisper you honor today may prevent the regret of tomorrow. I have been speaking all along, and I am still speaking now. My beloved child, this is not just another ordinary season in your life. You are standing at a turning point, even if it does not look dramatic from the outside. Turning points are rarely announced with loud signs. Often, they arrive quietly, disguised as simple decisions, subtle shifts, or moments of clarity that feel small but carry great weight. Right now, you are closer to change than you realize. There are thoughts you have been entertaining that will shape your direction. There are choices you are about to make that will either align you more deeply with peace or pull you further into confusion. I do not say this to create fear in you. I say this to awaken your awareness. You are not drifting aimlessly. You are at a crossroads. Imagine a traveler walking along a path that suddenly splits in two. One road appears familiar. It feels safe because it is similar to what the traveler has always known. The other road looks uncertain. It requires trust. It asks for courage. The traveler cannot walk both paths. A decision must be made. That is where you are. You may not see a literal sign in front of you, but your heart senses it. Something inside you knows that continuing exactly as you have been will lead to one outcome, while listening more closely to me will lead to another. The difference between the two paths may seem small at first, but over time, that difference will grow. Turning points are not about grand gestures. They are about obedience in small things. It might be the decision to let go of a habit that no longer serves you. It might be the choice to speak honestly instead of pretending everything is fine. It might be the courage to step into an opportunity that stretches you. It might be the humility to walk away from something that feeds your pride but drains your peace. These choices seem ordinary, but they are seeds, and every seed grows. My beloved child, I see the potential within you. I see the strength you doubt. I see the discipline you are capable of developing. I see the compassion that can deepen. What potential does not unfold automatically. It unfolds through decisions, through daily alignment, through moments like this one. Do not underestimate the power of what you choose next. There are patterns in your life that are ready to shift, but patterns do not change by accident. They change when you pause, reflect, and decide differently. You have been asking for growth. You have been praying for clarity. Understand this. Growth often begins with discomfort. Clarity often requires confrontation with what is no longer working. I am not rushing you. I am guiding you. You may feel tension in this moment because part of you wants comfort, and part of you longs for transformation. Comfort keeps things predictable. Transformation stretches you beyond what you have known. But remember, I do not call you forward without walking beside you. If you choose the path aligned with my voice, you will not walk it alone. Think of a gardener pruning a tree. To the tree, the cutting may feel like loss. Branches are removed. Shape is altered. But the gardener sees what the tree cannot see. He knows that pruning makes room for stronger growth, healthier fruit, and deeper roots. In the same way, the turning point before you may involve releasing something comfortable so that something greater can grow. You are not being punished. You are being positioned. Positioned for maturity. Positioned for peace. Positioned for purpose. My beloved child, do not let fear choose for you. Do not let habit decide your direction. Let wisdom guide you. Let stillness inform you. Let my voice anchor you. This moment matters more than it appears. The small yes you whisper in obedience can open doors you did not even know existed. The small no you speak to old patterns can protect your future in ways you cannot yet imagine. You are at a turning point, and I am here, steady and faithful, inviting you to choose the path that leads to life, growth, and lasting peace. My beloved child, as you stand at this turning point, I must speak to the force that has been whispering against you. It has followed you quietly for years. It has shaped your decisions more than you realize. It has kept you smaller than you were created to be. That force is fear. Fear has tried to silence you. It has told you not to speak up because you might be rejected. It has told you not to try because you might fail. It has told you not to trust because you might be hurt again. And slowly, almost invisibly, fear has built boundaries around your life that I never designed for you. You call it being cautious. You call it being realistic. But often beneath those names, fear is hiding. I see the moments when you felt prompted to step forward, and fear pulled you back. I see the ideas you dismissed before giving them a chance. I see the relationships you kept at a distance because vulnerability felt dangerous. I see the prayers you prayed halfway, afraid to hope too boldly in case you were disappointed. Fear does not always shout. Sometimes it speaks in reasonable tones. It says, be careful, or protect yourself. Don't risk too much. And while wisdom is good, fear twists wisdom into paralysis. It convinces you that safety is found in shrinking. But my beloved child, you were not created to shrink. Fear has magnified your past failures, replaying them in your mind as proof that you should not try again. It has highlighted your weaknesses and ignored your growth. It has compared your beginning to someone else's middle and told you that you are behind. Fear distorts perspective. Imagine looking into a mirror that bends your reflection. It exaggerates your flaws and minimizes your strengths. After staring into it long enough, you begin to believe the distortion is truth. That is what fear has done. It has shown you an image of yourself that is smaller, weaker, and less capable than who you truly are. But I see you clearly. I see the courage you have already demonstrated. I see the battles you have survived. I see the resilience that kept you standing when you thought you would fall apart. Fear never tells you about those moments. It prefers selective memory. There were times you stepped forward even while trembling. Times you chose integrity even when compromise was easier. Times you loved again after being hurt. Those were not small victories. They were evidence of strength. Fear also tries to silence your voice. It makes you question whether your thoughts matter, whether your dreams are too unrealistic, whether your calling is too much for someone like you. It suggests that staying quiet is safer than being seen. But I placed purpose inside you for a reason. If fear can keep you doubting, it can delay your impact. If fear can keep you silent, it can limit the light you bring into the lives of others. And sometimes, the very area where you feel most afraid is the area where your greatest growth awaits. My beloved child, I am not asking you to pretend fear does not exist. I am asking you not to let it lead you. Courage is not the absence of fear. Courage is choosing trust while fear is present. It is stepping forward with me even when the outcome is not guaranteed. It is believing that my presence with you matters more than your uncertainty about what lies ahead. Think of a child learning to swim. The water feels unfamiliar. The depth feels intimidating. But when the father stands in the pool with open arms, the child gathers the bravery to move forward. The child's confidence does not come from mastering the water immediately. It comes from trusting the one who stands ready to catch them. That is what I offer you. When fear whispers, you will fail, I whisper, I am with you. When fear says you are not enough, I say I formed you intentionally. When fear insists, stay small, I remind you that growth requires movement. My beloved child, fear has tried to silence you, but it does not have authority over your destiny. It may speak, but it does not decide. You do not have to eliminate every anxious thought before taking a step. You only need to trust that my hand is steady. And as you continue listening tonight, understand this. The more you lean into my truth, the quieter fear will become. Not because your circumstances change instantly, but because your confidence in me grows stronger than the voice that once restrained you. You are not meant to live confined by fear. You are meant to live guided by faith, strengthened by love, and supported by my constant presence. My beloved child, there is something else that had been pressing against your spirit. It is not only fear of what might happen. It is the memory of what already has. Your past had been speaking to you, and sometimes its voice feels louder than my promises. You replay certain moments and wish you could rewrite them. Words you said, choices you made, opportunities you missed. You wonder how different your life might look if you had known then what you know now. Regret can be heavy. It can sit on your chest and make it difficult to breathe freely. But listen carefully to me now. The weight of your past is not your future. Yes, you have made mistakes. Yes, there were seasons when you did not listen as closely as you could have. Yes, there were times when emotions led you instead of wisdom. But your past decisions do not have the authority to define your destiny. I do not hold you hostage to former versions of yourself. Imagine carrying a suitcase filled with stones from every mistake you ever made. Each stone represents a memory, a regret, a failure. At first, you barely notice the weight. But over time, as more stones are added, the suitcase becomes heavy. It slows your walk. It strains your arms. Yet you keep carrying it because you think you deserve to feel the burden. My beloved child, you were never meant to carry that suitcase forever. Growth means you are not who you used to be. The very fact that you feel regret in certain areas shows that your heart has matured. The person who made those choices did not have the awareness you have now. You have learned. You have it all. You have been shaped by experience. Why, then, would you chain yourself to a former version of you? There are times when you feel unworthy of new blessings because you remember old failures. You question whether you deserve another opportunity. You hesitate to step forward because you fear repeating the same mistake. But understand this, I do not measure you by your worst day. I measure you by the direction of your heart. And your heart is turning toward growth. Your past can inform you, but it does not imprison you. Lessons are meant to teach and not torment. If a child falls while learning to walk, a loving father does not label the child as clumsy forever. He lifts the child, encourages them, and watches them try again. Falling is part of learning. It is not the end of the story. You have fallen before, but you also stood up. There are memories that still sting because they involve people you loved, relationships that ended, trust that was broken. You sometimes blame yourself entirely, even when the situation was complex. You ask, what if I had done things differently? But you cannot relive those chapters. You can only grow from them. I can redeem what feels wasted. I can take what you learned through pain and use it to strengthen your wisdom. I can transform former shame into compassion for others. I can turn regret into resilience. Nothing you have experienced is beyond my ability to restore. My beloved child, when you hold on to guilt long after you have learned the lesson, you are punishing yourself unnecessarily. I I correct you to guide you forward, not to trap you in yesterday. Let this truth settle deeply within you. You are allowed to move on. You are allowed to forgive yourself. You are allowed to release the replay of old scenes. You are allowed to believe that your best chapters are still ahead. The enemy of your peace wants you to keep looking backward. But I am calling you forward. When you drive, the windshield is larger than the rearview mirror for a reason. You glance back to stay aware, but you move forward by focusing ahead. If you fixate on what is behind you, you risk crashing into what is before you. My beloved child, your future is not a repetition of your past. It is an opportunity shaped by new wisdom, deeper understanding, and my faithful presence. Lay the suitcase down. Release the stones. Let the past teach you without defining you. I am not calling you to relive what has already been redeemed. I'm calling you to step into what is still being written. And what I am writing over your life is not failure, not shame, not regret. It is growth, restoration, and hope. My beloved child, there have been moments, quiet, heavy moments, when you wondered if you had been forgotten. You watched others move forward while you felt stuck. You saw prayers answered for those around you while yours seemed suspended in silence. And in those spaces between hope and fulfillment, doubt tried to settle in your heart. But hear me clearly, you are not forgotten. Delay is not abandonment. Silence is not absence. Waiting is not rejection. You measure time in days and months. I measure time in purpose. What feels late to you is often preparation in my hands. When a seed is planted in the soil, it does not break the surface immediately. Beneath the ground, unseen roots are forming. Strength is developing where no one can applaud it. Growth is happening in darkness before it is visible in light. You are in a season where roots are deepening. You have prayed for change. You have asked for breakthrough. You have hoped for clarity. And when answers did not arrive on your schedule, discouragement whispered that maybe you were overlooked. But I do not overlook my children. I do not misplace destinies. I do not forget promises. Sometimes what you call delay is actually protection. If certain doors had opened when you first asked, you would not have been ready for what waited on the other side. Your character needed shaping. Your perspective needed refining. Your strength needed building. I was not withholding from you. I was preparing you. Think of a builder constructing a foundation for a home. The deeper the foundation, the longer it takes before the structure becomes visible. From the outside, it may appear that nothing is happening, but the deeper the groundwork, the more stable the future building will be. In the same way, I have been strengthening your inner foundation. You have felt overlooked in certain relationships. You have felt unnoticed in certain efforts. You have wondered whether your faithfulness even mattered. But I see what others miss. I see the quiet integrity. I see the consistent effort. I see the unseen sacrifices. Just because recognition has not come from people does not mean it has not been recorded. I am not distant from your waiting. I am in it with you. When you cried in private, I was near. When you questioned your worth, I was whispering truth over you. When you almost gave up, I was strengthening your resolve. The fact that you are still standing is not an accident. It is evidence of my sustaining hand. My beloved child, comparison has intensified your frustration. You compare your timeline to someone else's highlight. You compare your behind-the-scenes struggles to their visible success. But you do not know the full story of their journey, just as others do not know the full story of yours. Every life unfolds differently. If you rush what I am building in you, You may gain visibility but lose stability. I am more concerned with your depth than your speed. I am more focused on who you are becoming than how quickly you arrive. You are not forgotten in your career. You are not forgotten in your relationships. You are not forgotten in your calling. The season of waiting is not a blank space. It is a shaping space. There are prayers you prayed years ago that are still alive. They have not expired. They have not been ignored. They are simply aligning with the right time, the right maturity, the right environment. I see the full timeline. You see only today. Trust that I am weaving what you cannot yet perceive. My beloved child, when doubt tells you that you have been overlooked, return to this truth. I know your name. I know your thoughts. I know your struggles. I know your potential. And nothing about you is lost in the crowd. You may feel hidden right now, but hidden does not mean forgotten. Sometimes I hide what I am protecting. Sometimes I conceal what I am cultivating. And when the time is right, what has been developed in quiet will emerge with strength. Do not let waiting convince you that you are unwanted. You are chosen. You are seen. You are remembered. Even in this very moment, I am working on your behalf in ways you cannot yet see. You are not forgotten, my beloved child. Not for a second. My beloved child, there are battles you never knew you were close to fighting. There were traps you never saw because I quietly redirected your steps. There were storms forming in the distance that I dissolved before they ever reached your shore. And yet, because you did not see the danger, you sometimes questioned my protection. But I am protecting you in ways you don't see. You remember the disappointment of certain closed doors. You recall opportunities that slipped away just when you thought they were finally yours. You felt confusion when plans unraveled. In those moments, it seemed like loss. It seemed like rejection. It seemed like silence from me. What you did not see was what those doors were hiding. Some paths would have drained your peace. Some relationships would have fractured your confidence. Some successes would have cost you more than you were prepared to give. I saw the full picture. I saw the long-term impact. And because I love you, I intervene. Protection does not always feel comfortable. Sometimes it feels like delay. Sometimes it feels like no. Sometimes it feels like standing still while others move ahead. But my no is not punishment. It is preservation. Imagine a child reaching toward a flame because it looks warm and beautiful. The child does not see the burn that will follow. The father does not wait for the pain to teach the lesson. He pulls the child back. The child may cry thinking something wonderful was taken away. But the father knows he just prevented harm. That is what I have done for you more times than you realize. There were conversations you were never invited into that would have entangled you in unnecessary drama. There were financial risks you almost took that would have created heavy burdens. There were emotional attachments that did not deepen because I was shielding your heart from wounds you did not need. Even in your lowest moments, I was guarding you. You thought you were alone in certain battles, but I was strengthening you behind the scenes. I was softening hearts you could not change. I was blocking influences you did not discern. I was arranging circumstances so that what was meant for harm would lose its power before reaching you. My beloved child, trust this. Not every missed opportunity was a mistake. Not every delay was failure. Not every closed door was defeat. Sometimes what feels like obstruction is actually divine protection. You cannot always see what you are being spared from. But one day, you will look back and understand why certain things never worked out. You will realize that what you begged for would have broken you at the time. You will see that what you thought was loss was actually rescue. Rest in this truth tonight. I am actively involved in your safety, your direction, and your peace. And as you reflect on how I have protected you, understand that this message, this moment, this growing awareness is also part of my covering over you. I am not only guarding your future, I am nurturing your spirit right now. My beloved child, as this message reaches hearts across nations, I am raising a light in the darkness. When you choose to support this mission through Super Thanks, membership, or the PayPal link placed in the description and shown through the QR code, you are not giving to a platform. You are sowing seeds into souls. As I have said, give, and it shall be given unto you. And tonight I speak that promise personally over you. When you act in generosity, you align with my heart to reach those who feel forgotten and afraid. Let this be your moment of obedience. Do not let hesitation steal the blessing of participation. Your support becomes oil that keeps this lamp burning, manna that feeds weary hearts, and water that refreshes thirsty spirits. As you give, I breathe increase over your household, peace over your finances, and favor over your path. You are not losing. You are planting into eternal harvest. Step forward now. Sow into this work and become part of the miracle I am unfolding. My beloved child, now that you understand I am protecting you in ways you cannot always see, I want to guide you into something that will change everything if you allow it. Slow down. Not tomorrow. Not when life becomes easier. Now, you have grown accustomed to speed. Your thoughts move quickly. Your days are packed tightly. Even your rest is often restless, because your mind keeps racing long after your body grows tired. You live in a world that praises urgency and constant motion. But constant motion can blur vision. Clarity is rarely found in chaos. When water is stirred violently, you cannot see through it. But when it becomes still, everything beneath the surface becomes visible. Your spirit is the same. When you are constantly reacting, worrying, scrolling, planning, and comparing, your inner world becomes clouded. You struggle to hear my direction not because I am silent, but because your soul is unsettled. My beloved child, you do not need more information right now. You need more stillness. There are answers you have been seeking that will not come through overthinking. There are decisions you have been wrestling with that will not be resolved through pressure. They will come when you create space for me to speak gently into your heart. Slowing down does not mean abandoning responsibility. It means approaching your responsibilities from a place of peace instead of panic. It means allowing pauses between your reactions. It means breathing before responding. It means sitting in silence long enough for anxiety to settle. You fear that if you slow down, you will fall behind. But rushing without direction can lead you farther from where you truly want to be. Slowness with intention is stronger than speed without clarity. Think of a musician tuning an instrument before a performance. If the strings are too tight or too loose, the music will sound distorted. The musician must pause and adjust carefully before playing. In the same way, your heart needs tuning. If you move forward without adjustment, your life may feel out of harmony. I am inviting you into rhythm. My rhythm is not frantic. It is steady. It is anchored in trust. When you align with my pace, you will notice that anxiety loses some of its grip. Urgency softens into purpose. Confusion gives way to quiet assurance. You have been carrying tension in your body without realizing it. Your shoulders tighten. Your jaw clenches. Your breath shortens. These are signs that your spirit longs for calm. You were not created to live in constant survival mode. You were created to live in connection. When you slow down, you begin to notice what truly matters. You become aware of patterns you previously ignored. You recognize which commitments drain you and which ones energize you. You discern which voices bring peace and which ones stir insecurity. And most importantly, you begin to hear me more clearly. My voice does not compete for attention. It flows into the quiet spaces you create. It reassures without shouting. It corrects without humiliating. It guides without overwhelming. My beloved child, set aside moments each day to be still, even if it is only a few minutes. Close your eyes. Breathe deeply. Release the need to solve everything at once. Let your thoughts settle like dust in a room after movement stops. In that calm, I will meet you. Do not mistake stillness for weakness. It takes courage to slow down in a world that celebrates noise. It takes faith to pause when you feel pressure to rush. But slowing down is not stepping backward. It is preparing to step forward with wisdom. The turning point you are facing will become clearer when you quiet your spirit. The fears that once felt overwhelming will shrink when you stop feeding them with constant worry. The direction you seek will emerge gently, not forcefully. My beloved child, you do not need to chase clarity. You need to create space for it. Slow down. Listen carefully. I am nearer than you think, and my guidance becomes unmistakable when your heart is calm enough to receive it. My beloved child, as you begin to slow your pace and quiet the noise around you, something deeper will rise to the surface. In the stillness, you will start to recognize what has been clinging to your heart. And now I must speak gently but clearly. There is something you must release. You have been holding onto it tightly. Perhaps it is a habit that comforts you but quietly weakens you. Perhaps it is a relationship that feels familiar but drains your peace. Perhaps it is control, the need to manage outcomes, to predict every step, to ensure nothing goes wrong. Whatever it is, you feel its weight. You tell yourself that you need it. You convince yourself that letting go would be too risky, too painful, too uncertain. But my beloved child, not everything you carry is meant to stay with you. Some things were meant for a season. Imagine walking through a long journey with a heavy coat. In winter, it kept you warm. It protected you from harsh winds. But when the season changes and the sun begins to rise higher in the sky, that same coat becomes a burden. If you refuse to remove it, you will grow exhausted under its unnecessary weight. What once protected you may now be limiting you. There are coping mechanisms you develop during painful times. They help you survive. They shielded you when you felt vulnerable. But survival is not the same as growth. You are no longer in the same place. You are not as fragile as you once were. Yet you still cling to patterns formed in seasons that have already passed. Release is not loss. Release is transition. You may need to let go of resentment you have carried quietly. You replay what someone did or said, and though you smile outwardly, your heart remains guarded. Holding on to that resentment feels like protection, but it slowly hardens your spirit. Forgiveness does not excuse what happened. It frees you from being tied to it. You may need to release unrealistic expectations of yourself or of others. You hold yourself to standards that leave no room for humanity. You expect perfection, constant strength, endless productivity. And when you fall short, you punish yourself with harsh thoughts. That weight was never assigned to you by me. You may need to release the illusion of control. You try to anticipate every outcome so you will not be caught off guard. What control is exhausting. It keeps you in a constant state of tension. True peace does not come from managing every possibility. It comes from trusting me with what you cannot predict. My beloved child, release is an act of faith. It is opening your hands instead of clenching your fists. It is saying, I trust that what I surrender will be replaced with something better aligned. He is allowing space for new growth by clearing what no longer belongs. Think of a tree in autumn. Its leaves once flourish in vibrant color. But when the season shifts, the tree does not cling desperately to each leaf. He allows them to fall. To an observer, it may look barren, but in reality, the tree is conserving strength for new life in a coming season. If the tree refused to release its leaves, new growth would struggle to emerge. What you are being asked to release may feel precious because it is familiar, but familiarity is not always destiny. Sometimes I must remove what you have outgrown so that you can step into who you are becoming. I will not force your hands open. I invite you. I ask you to trust that I see beyond this moment. When you release what I am highlighting, you will feel lighter. You will breathe more deeply. You will sense alignment returning. My beloved child, you cannot receive fully while clinging tightly to what I am asking you to surrender. Let go of what binds you to yesterday. Let go of what dims your clarity. Let go of what competes with my peace in your heart. You are not losing. You are making room. And when you release what no longer serves your growth, you will discover that what remains is stronger, purer, and more aligned with the purpose I have prepared for you. My beloved child, there is something beautiful about your heart that you sometimes overlook. Even in your doubt, even in your weariness, you have continued to pray. Maybe not always with long, polished words. Sometimes your prayers were only sighs. Sometimes they were tears falling silently in the dark. Sometimes they were a single sentence whispered before sleep, "Please, God, let something change." I have heard every one of them. You have been praying for change in your circumstances, change in your mindset, change in your relationships, change in your habits. You have asked for breakthrough, for clarity, for open doors. And yet, when the change did not happen immediately, you wondered if your prayers were too small or too repetitive. But my beloved child, prayer is not about impressing me. It is about aligning with me. When you pray for change, you are opening your heart to transformation. And often, the first place change begins is within you. It can feel frustrating because you want the external situation to shift. You want the problem to resolve. You want the tension to disappear. But I am more concerned with building strength inside you than simply removing pressure around you. You prayed for patience, and I allowed circumstances that stretched your patience. You prayed for confidence, and I placed you in situations that required courage. You prayed for deeper faith, and I guided you into moments where trusting me was your only anchor. That is not cruelty. That is growth. Think of a sculptor shaping stone. The stone does not understand why pieces are being chipped away. It may feel like loss, but the sculptor sees the masterpiece hidden inside. In the same way, when you pray for change, you are inviting me to shape you into the version of yourself that can sustain the blessing you seek. You asked for peace. Peace is not the absence of storms. It is stability within them. So I am teaching you how to remain grounded even when uncertainty surrounds you. You asked for purpose. Purpose requires clarity and discipline. So I am refining your focus and adjusting your priorities. You asked for healthy relationships. So I am showing you where boundaries are needed and where healing must occur. My beloved child, change rarely arrives as a sudden explosion. It often unfolds as quiet adjustments, a shift in perspective, a new conviction about what you deserve, a growing discomfort with habits that once felt normal. These subtle changes are answers to your prayers. You may have expected dramatic signs, but I am working in layers. Consider how dawn approaches. The sky does not shift from dark to bright in a single second. It lightens gradually. Colors begin to change. Shadows soften. By the time the sun rises fully, the transformation has already been happening for some time. Your life is in that early light. Do not underestimate the progress that has already taken place within you. You think you are still the same person because your environment looks similar. But your reactions are shifting. Your awareness is deepening. Your standards are rising. You are becoming more intentional, even if the world around you is not caught up yet. Change also requires your participation. I will guide you, strengthen you, and open doors. But you must walk through them. You must choose differently when old patterns try to return. You must speak truth over yourself when insecurity resurfaces. You must act on the conviction I place in your heart. You are not powerless in this transformation. My beloved child, the change you seek is not distant. It is already unfolding. It may not look exactly as you imagined, but it is real. Every time you choose patience over anger, growth is happening. Every time you forgive instead of holding resentment, healing is happening. Every time you step forward despite fear, courage is developing. Your prayers are not ignored. They are in motion. Trust the process I am guiding you through. Trust that what feels slow is steady. Trust that what feels uncomfortable is strengthening you. The change you have been praying for is not only about shifting your circumstances. It is about shaping your character so that when new doors open, you are ready to walk through them with wisdom and confidence. My beloved child, continue to pray. Continue to hope. Continue to trust. The transformation you asked for is already at work within you. My beloved child, as change begins to unfold within you, there will be moments when you do not fully understand what I am doing. Your mind will search for clear explanations. Your heart will crave visible confirmation. You will want to see the entire path before taking the next step. But I am calling you to trust me beyond what you understand. Understanding feels safe to you. When you can analyze something, measure it, and predict it, you feel in control. But trust requires something deeper than logic. Trust asks you to step forward even when the full picture is not yet visible. You are used to navigating by sight. You like to see where you are going. You prefer certainty over mystery. But faith is not built on complete information. It is built on relationship. Imagine walking through a dense fog. You cannot see far ahead. The path beyond a few steps is hidden. But if someone you deeply trust is holding your hand and guiding you, you move forward anyway. Not because you see clearly, but because you trust the one leading you. That is what I am asking of you. There are pieces of your story that are still forming. There are conversations I am arranging that you have not yet heard. There are alignments taking place behind the scenes that you cannot measure. If I showed you everything at once, it would overwhelm you. You would try to control parts that are not yours to control. Trust is not blind surrender. It is confident reliance. My beloved child, you have trusted yourself many times before. You have trusted your instincts, your plans, your calculations. Sometimes they worked. Sometimes they did not. But even when your own understanding failed you, I remain steady. There are moments ahead where you will feel uncertain. Decisions that will not come with flashing signs. Opportunities that will require courage. In those moments, your mind will ask, what if this goes wrong? But I want you to ask a different question. What if I am being led? You do not need to understand every detail to obey the next step. Think of a child learning to ride a bicycle. At first, the child feels unstable. They do not understand balance fully. They cannot calculate every movement, but they trust the steady presence of the one running beside them. Eventually, balance becomes natural, not because they mastered every theory, but because they practiced trust. You are learning spiritual balance. There are things I am removing that you do not yet see the reason for. There are doors I am opening that feel unfamiliar. There are delays that confuse you. But remember what I have already shown you. I have protected you in ways you did not see. I have sustained you through moments you thought would break you. I have guided you through confusion before. Have I failed you? Look back at your life. Even when the journey was messy, you were carried. Even when you made mistakes, you were corrected without being abandoned. Even when you felt lost, you eventually found clarity. That pattern is not coincidence. It is my faithfulness. My beloved child, trust grows through remembrance. When doubt rises, remember what I have already done. When confusion clouds your mind, return to the truth that I see what you cannot. You are not required to understand the entire plan. You are only asked to take the next faithful step. There will come a time when what feels confusing now will make sense. You will look back and realize why certain delays were necessary. You will see how disconnected pieces form the complete picture, but that clarity will come later. For now, trust is your bridge. Do not let the absence of full explanation shake your confidence. I am not hiding information to harm you. I am guiding you with wisdom that extends beyond your timeline. My beloved child, release the demand to understand everything before you move. Lean into my steadiness. Walk forward even if the path is partially hidden. You do not walk alone, and you do not walk blindly. You walk guided by a Father who sees beyond the fog and leads with perfect love. My beloved child, there is a place in your heart that you do not show easily. You have learned how to function, how to smile, how to carry on conversations while that hidden place remains tender. You tell yourself it is better not to think about it too much. You believe time alone will erase it. But the wound you hide still aches beneath the surface. I see it. It may have been caused by betrayal. Someone you trusted did not protect your heart. Words were spoken that cut deeper than you expected. Promises were broken. You tried to be strong about it. You told yourself you would move on quickly. But healing is not the same as pretending. Perhaps your wound came from rejection. You were overlooked, dismissed, or replaced. You questioned your worth. You wondered what you lacked. And even now, when new opportunities arise, that old voice sometimes whispers, "What if it happens again?" Or maybe the wound is quieter. It is the ache of not feeling enough, not successful enough, not loved enough, not complete enough. You compare yourself to others and feel a subtle sting that you cannot explain. You push yourself harder, thinking achievement will silence the ache. But the ache remains. My beloved child, unhealed wounds do not disappear simply because you ignore them. They shape your reactions. They influence your choices. They color how you see yourself and others. And sometimes, they cause you to build walls where bridges could have been built. But I am healing what you hide. Healing does not begin with denial. It begins with honesty. You do not have to relive every painful detail, but you must allow yourself to acknowledge that it hurt. You are not weak for feeling pain. You are human. Even strength can be wounded. Imagine a small crack in a foundation. At first it seems insignificant, but if it is left unattended, pressure can widen it over time. The wise builder does not ignore the crack. He repairs it carefully so the structure remains strong. In the same way, I am not ashamed of your cracks. I want to mend them. My healing is gentle. I do not rush your process. I do not expose your vulnerabilities to embarrass you. I work patiently, layer by layer, restoring what was shaken. Sometimes healing feels like tears. Sometimes it feels like confronting memories you tried to bury. But every step toward truth brings freedom. You may have told yourself that you should be over it by now. But healing is not measured by the calendar. It is measured by surrender. When you invite me into the wound instead of hiding it, restoration begins. There are areas where you have become guarded. You hesitate to trust fully. You keep parts of your heart reserved. You say, "I'm fine," even when you are not. I understand why you built those defenses. They were attempts to protect yourself. But walls that keep pain out can also keep love out. My beloved child, I am not asking you to tear down every wall overnight. I am asking you to let me stand beside you as you lower them brick by brick. Think of a physician cleaning a wound. The process may sting for a moment, but it prevents deeper infection. In the same way, facing your pain with me may feel uncomfortable, but it prevents bitterness from taking root. You are not defined by what hurt you. You are not permanently damaged. You are not beyond restoration. I am the one who renews strength, restores joy, and rebuilds confidence. The wound you hide is not invisible to me, and it is not too deep for my touch. My beloved child, allow yourself to heal. Release the belief that you must appear strong at all times. True strength includes vulnerability. It includes honesty. It includes allowing yourself to be cared for. I am close to the brokenhearted. I draw near to places others cannot see. When you feel that ache again, instead of suppressing it, whisper my name. Invite me into it. Let me speak truth where lies once settle. Healing is not weakness. It is preparation for deeper joy. And as I continue to restore the hidden parts of you, you will discover something beautiful. What once felt like your greatest wound can become a source of compassion, wisdom, and strength. I am healing you, my beloved child. Even now, in ways you may not fully notice yet. My beloved child, I know the winds have been strong lately. There are pressures pressing against you from different directions. Responsibilities feel heavier. Emotions feel closer to the surface. Uncertainty circles around you like dark clouds. And sometimes you wonder how much more you can endure. But listen to me carefully. The storm around you will not destroy you. Storms have a way of convincing you that they are permanent. When rain pours and thunder shakes the sky, it feels endless. You forget what sunlight looks like. You question whether calm will ever return. Yet every storm has a limit. Every dark sky eventually clears. The storm you are facing is not meant to break you. It is shaping you. Consider how trees respond to strong winds. A tree that has never faced resistance grows shallow roots. But when winds push against it, the roots dig deeper into the ground. Strength is developed beneath the surface. What looks like pressure is actually preparation. In the same way, the challenges you face are deepening your roots. You have learned resilience in ways you did not expect. You have discovered patience you did not know you possessed. You have found courage in moments when fear threatened to overtake you. These qualities were not formed in comfort. They were formed in resistance. My beloved child, I do not send storms to harm you, but I do allow seasons that stretch you. Growth rarely happens in still air. Muscles strengthen under resistance. Faith strengthens under uncertainty. Character strengthens under pressure. Right now, you may feel tired of being strong, You may think, I have endured enough, and I understand that fatigue. But do not confuse weariness with defeat. You are still standing. You are still moving forward, even if slowly. The waves may rise, but they will not swallow you. Remember the times you thought you would not recover, the heartbreak you believed would shatter you completely, the financial strain that kept you awake at night, the anxiety that made your chest tighten. Yet here you are. You underestimate how much you have already survived. Storms also reveal what is solid. When everything is calm, it is easy to believe you are secure. But when pressure comes, you see where your foundation stands. And each time you return to me in the midst of chaos, your foundation grows firmer. My beloved child, you are not alone in this storm. I am not watching from a distance. I am with you in the wind and the rain. When you feel overwhelmed, I am the quiet strength beneath you. When you feel uncertain, I am the steady anchor holding you in place. Think of a lighthouse standing on the edge of a rocky shore. Storms crash against it. Waves pound its walls. Yet the light continues to shine, guiding ships safely through the darkness. You are becoming like that lighthouse, not because you avoid storms, but because you endure them with me. This season will not define you by struggle. It will define you by perseverance. There will come a day when you look back at this storm and realize how much it refined you. You will see how it stripped away distractions, how it clarified priorities, how it strengthened your trust. What feels like chaos now will later be understood as transformation. Do not let fear tell you that you are sinking. You are anchored. Do not let doubt tell you that this is the end. It is a chapter, not the conclusion. My beloved child, storms pass, but the strength you gain from them remains. Hold steady. Breathe deeply. Lean into my presence when the winds grow loud. I am your shelter. I am your refuge. And I promise you this, the storm around you will not destroy you. It will pass, and you will stand stronger than before. My beloved child, after the storm has shaken you and strengthened you, I want you to understand something that will anchor your identity. You are not random. You are not an afterthought. You are chosen on purpose. Before you ever questioned your worth, I had already declared it. Before anyone spoke affirmation or criticism over your life, I had already formed you with intention. There is nothing accidental about your personality, your gifts, your sensitivities, or even your struggles. You were crafted with meaning. Sometimes you look at others and wonder why they seem more confident, more talented, more visible. You compare your behind-the-scenes battles with their public victories. And in those comparisons, you forget that each life carries a different assignment. You are not called to be a copy. Imagine a garden filled with many kinds of flowers. One blooms tall and bright. Another grows low and delicate. One thrives in full sunlight. Another flourishes in shade. If a small flower tried to become a towering tree, it would miss its own beauty. Each plant has a purpose in the design. In the same way, you have a place in my design that no one else can occupy. There are qualities within you that you have underestimated. The way you listen deeply. The way you care sincerely. The way you think differently. The way you persist quietly. You may not see these traits as powerful, but they are part of your assignment. You were chosen to bring something specific into this world. Your experiences, even the painful ones, are not random chapters. They have shaped your empathy. They have sharpened your wisdom. They have prepared you to understand others in ways that someone without your journey could not. My beloved child, purpose is not always loud. It is not always visible to crowds. Sometimes it unfolds in private faithfulness, in small acts of integrity, in conversations where you encourage someone who was ready to give up, in choices that align with truth when compromise would have been easier. Being chosen does not mean being exempt from difficulty. It means being entrusted with influence. You have influence, even if you do not see it fully. The way you handle pressure teaches others resilience. The way you respond to hurt teaches others grace. The way you keep going teaches others endurance. Do not diminish your impact because it feels ordinary to you. There are moments when you have doubted whether your life carries significance. You have asked quietly, does what I do really matter? And I answer you now, yes, it does. Every step of obedience matters. Every act of kindness matters. Every moment of growth matters. You were not placed here to simply exist. You were placed here to contribute. Think of a single thread in a large tapestry. On its own, it may look small and insignificant, but without it, the pattern would be incomplete. You are that thread in a much greater design. Remove you from the picture, and something essential would be missing. My beloved child, you are chosen not because you are perfect, but because you are willing. I do not select based on flawlessness. I select based on heart. In your heart, despite its doubts, still seeks truth. It still longs to grow. It still desires to align with me. That is enough. Do not let insecurity silence your calling. Do not let comparison shrink your confidence. When you walk in alignment with who I created you to be, you step into authority that does not depend on applause. You are chosen in your workplace, chosen in your family, chosen in your community, chosen in your quiet moments and in your visible ones. And being chosen means you are supported. I will equip you for what I ask of you. I will strengthen you where you feel weak. I will guide you when you feel uncertain. Your assignment will never outrun my provision. My beloved child, carry this truth with you. You are here intentionally. You are loved deliberately. You are chosen on purpose. Walk forward not as someone trying to prove their worth, but as someone who already possesses it. My beloved child, now that you understand you are chosen on purpose, there is a warning I must give you, not with harshness, but with deep love. Do not return to what I have already freed you from. You have grown more than you realize. There were habits that once controlled you that no longer have the same power. There were thought patterns that once dominated your mind that you now recognize and challenge. There were relationships that once defined your worth that you have begun to see clearly. That growth did not happen by accident. It happened because you were willing to learn, to heal, to change. But growth can feel uncomfortable. Freedom can feel unfamiliar. And when something new feels uncertain, the past can appear tempting simply because it is familiar. The familiar does not always mean the healthy. Think of someone who has lived in a dimly lit room for many years. When they finally step into bright sunlight, it can feel overwhelming at first. Their eyes struggle to adjust. For a moment, they may even miss the comfort of the dimness because it was easier. But that does not mean the darkness was better. In the same way, the patterns I have helped you break may call out to you again. Old coping mechanisms may whisper that they are easier than discipline. Old relationships may reappear, promising familiarity. Old mindsets may suggest that settling is safer than striving. But my beloved child, you are not who you used to be. You prayed for freedom. You asked for clarity. You sought healing. And when I began to guide you out of certain cycles, it was not to bring you back to them later. Freedom is not meant to be temporary. There are moments when exhaustion will tempt you to return to what once felt comfortable. You might think, at least I knew what to expect there. But remember what that season cost you. Remember the anxiety, the confusion, the lack of peace. Familiarity often hides the price you paid. You were freed for a reason. Perhaps you were freed from constantly seeking validation from people who could never fully give it. Yet sometimes you feel the pull to prove yourself again. Perhaps you were freed from destructive habits that numbed your pain but never healed it. Yet when stress rises, the urge to escape resurfaces. This is where awareness becomes strength. Freedom is not just the absence of chains. It is the daily decision to walk away from them even when they lie within reach. Just because something is available does not mean it is aligned with your future. Imagine a bird that has lived in a cage for years. When the door is finally opened, the bird hesitates. The cage is restrictive, but it is known. The open sky is vast and unfamiliar. It requires courage to fly. Yet the bird was never designed for confinement. You were not designed for confinement either. Do not let nostalgia distort reality. Do not romanticize seasons that once drained you. If something consistently stole your peace, limited your growth, or compromised your integrity, it is not where you belong. My beloved child, I did not bring you this far to leave you halfway healed. The progress you have made matters. The strength you have developed matters. The clarity you have gained matters. Protect it. Guard it. Honor it. There will be voices that say, just this once. There will be moments when compromise looks small, but small compromises can reopen doors that took great effort to close. You are stronger now. You are wiser now. You are more discerning now. When temptation whispers, remember who you are becoming. Remember the peace you have begun to experience. Remember the freedom that allowed you to breathe more deeply. I am not warning you because I doubt you. I am reminding you because I believe in you. You do not have to return to old cycles to feel secure. You do not have to revisit past patterns to feel comfort. Your future is not behind you. It is ahead. My beloved child, stay free. Walk forward. Trust that what I am building in you is greater than anything you left behind. My beloved child, you have been waiting for something. An answer, a breakthrough, a sign that confirms you are moving in the right direction. And as the days pass, you sometimes feel like that answer is still far away, hidden beyond your reach. But listen closely to me now. The answer is closer than you think. Waiting has a way of stretching your perception. It makes what is near feel distant. It makes what is forming feel invisible. Yet many times, just before a door opens, there is a moment of intensified doubt. Just before dawn breaks, the night feels at its darkest. You are not as far from resolution as you imagine. Think of a seed beneath the soil. For weeks, nothing appears to change. The surface looks the same. But underneath, roots are spreading, pushing through resistance, preparing for emergence. And then, suddenly, one morning, a small green shoot breaks through the ground. To the observer, it seems sudden. But the growth had been happening all along. In the same way, what you have been praying for is not stagnant. It is developing. Conversations are aligning. Circumstances are shifting. Hearts are softening. Even if you cannot see the movement yet, progress is unfolding. You may feel tempted to give up because you have grown tired of hoping. You think, if it was going to happen, it would have happened by now. But my beloved child, timing is not determined by your frustration. It is shaped by readiness. yours and the environment around you. There are layers being arranged that you cannot measure. Sometimes the final step before breakthrough feels like resistance. You may encounter unexpected delays. You may face one more challenge. You may feel emotionally drained. But do not mistake resistance for rejection. Often, resistance is confirmation that you are nearing something significant. Imagine climbing a mountain. The closer you get to the peak, the steeper the path becomes. Your legs burn. Your breath shortens. You question whether you have the strength to continue. Yet the summit is only a short distance away. You are closer than you realize. Do not let discouragement cause you to stop just before the breakthrough. Do not let impatience convince you to settle for less than what I am preparing. What is meant for you is not lost. It is aligning. There are prayers you whispered months ago that are on the verge of being answered in unexpected ways. There are doors you knocked on that seemed closed but are quietly being unlocked. There are opportunities you thought were gone that are being restructured. My beloved child, hope is not foolish. It is fuel. Hope keeps you moving when clarity is limited. Hope anchors you when emotions fluctuate. Hope reminds you that your current situation is not your final destination. If you could see the full picture from my perspective, you would not despair. You would understand how close certain pieces are to falling into place. But because you cannot see it all, I ask you to trust. Do not withdraw your faith now. Do not shrink your expectations now. Lift your eyes beyond the immediate frustration. The answer may not look exactly as you imagined, but it will carry the peace and alignment you have been seeking. And when it arrives, you will recognize it, not because it is perfect, but because it fits. My beloved child, remain steady in this final stretch. Keep taking small, faithful steps. Continue showing up with integrity. Continue aligning your heart with my guidance. Breakthrough does not always announce itself with noise. Sometimes it enters quietly, like the first light of morning. You are closer than you think. Closer to clarity. Closer to restoration. Closer to relief. Hold on a little longer. Trust a little deeper. What you have been waiting for is not distant. It is approaching. My beloved child, there are parts of your life that feel fractured. Things did not unfold the way you expected. Relationships cracked under prayer. Plans collapsed. Confidence was shaken. And sometimes, when you look at the pieces, you wonder if they can ever be whole again. But hear me clearly. I am rebuilding what was broken. Broken does not mean beyond repair. It means something was tested. It means something endured pressure. And while the damage may be visible to you, so is the possibility of restoration. You tend to look at what fell apart and assume it is ruined forever. You see the cracks and label them as failure. But I see potential. I see structure that can be strengthened. I see areas that, once rebuilt, will be more resilient than before. Think of a house that has been shaken by a storm. Some walls are damaged. Some windows are shattered. The foundation may even show signs of stress. The untrained eye sees destruction, but a skilled builder sees opportunity. He reinforces the foundation. He replaces weak beams with stronger ones. He installs windows that can withstand future winds. When the rebuilding is complete, the house is not only restored, it is fortified. That is what I am doing in you. There are relationships that may not return to their previous form, but I can restore your ability to trust wisely. There are financial setbacks that felt devastating, but I can rebuild your stability with deeper discipline and stronger strategy. There are dreams that collapsed, but I can reshape your vision into something more aligned with who you are becoming. Rebuilding takes time. It requires patience. It requires allowing old debris to be cleared before new structure rises. Sometimes the clearing process feels like loss all over again. But removal is not destruction. It is preparation. My beloved child, you are not defined by what broke. You are defined by how you rebuild. You may feel embarrassed about certain failures. You may hesitate to try again because you fear repeating the same outcome. But rebuilding is not about pretending the damage never happened. It is about learning from it and moving forward with wisdom. Imagine a craftsman repairing a cracked piece of pottery. Instead of hiding the cracks, he fills them with gold. The repaired piece becomes more beautiful because of its history. The cracks are no longer weaknesses. They are part of the story. Your cracks can carry beauty too. I am not ashamed of your broken places. I am working within them. Every lesson you learned, every tear you shed, every moment of humility you experienced, these are materials I use in reconstruction. Do not rush the process. Foundations must be solid before walls can rise. Character must be strengthened before responsibility expands. If I seem slow, it is because I am building something that will last. My beloved child, you will not remain in ruins. There will be laughter again where there was silence. There will be stability where there was shaking. There will be confidence where there was doubt. Restoration does not always look like returning to the exact past. Often, it looks like stepping into something stronger than what existed before. Trust that nothing is wasted. Even the broken pieces serve a purpose. They teach you resilience. They teach you discernment. They teach you gratitude for what endures. And as I rebuild, you will notice subtle changes. Your reactions will become steadier. Your boundaries will become clearer. Your hope will feel more grounded. You are not starting from nothing. You are starting from experience. My beloved child, lift your eyes from the rubble. See what I am constructing. The sound of rebuilding may feel unfamiliar at first, but it is the sound of progress. What was broken is not the end of your story. It is the beginning of a stronger chapter. And I am the one carefully, patiently, faithfully rebuilding your life with hands that never fail. My beloved child, even as I rebuild what was broken, there is something tender I must remind you of. You still carry regret in quiet corners of your heart. You have moved forward in many ways, yet certain memories still rise and whisper, if only. If only you had chosen differently. If only you had spoken sooner. If only you had walked away earlier. If only you had tried harder. Regret can feel like a shadow that follows you, especially in quiet moments. It does not always shout. Sometimes it simply sits beside you, reminding you of what cannot be undone. But listen carefully, my grace covers what you regret. Grace is not denial. Grace does not pretend the mistake never happened. Grace acknowledges the error and then refuses to let it define you. Grace says you are still loved. You are still chosen. You are still capable of good. You often extend understanding to others more easily than to yourself. When someone else fails, you can see their humanity. You can recognize their struggle. But when you fail, you become harsh. You replay your missteps as if punishing yourself will somehow rewrite them. My beloved child, self-punishment does not produce growth. Grace does. Imagine a teacher guiding a student who made an error on a test. The purpose of correction is learning, not humiliation. The teacher does not discard the student because of one mistake. Instead, the teacher reviews the error, explains it, and helps the student improve. That is how I deal with you. When you regret something, ask yourself this: have you learned from it? Have you grown? Have you become more aware? If the answer is yes, then the purpose of the mistake has already been redeemed. Continuing to condemn yourself serves no purpose. There are moments when regret resurfaces because you fear its consequences. You think, what if this follows me forever? But understand this, consequences may shape your path, yet they do not cancel your destiny. I can weave even your missteps into your future in ways that bring wisdom and humility. My grace is not fragile. It is not limited. It does not run out because you stumble again. You may remember a time when you hurt someone unintentionally. The memory still stings. You wish you could go back and handle it differently. If reconciliation is possible, seek it with humility. But if time has passed and the moment cannot be revisited, release it into my hands. You are not meant to carry lifelong shame for temporary ignorance. Think of rain falling over dry ground. The earth may be cracked and hardened from heat, but when rain comes, it softens the soil. It prepares it for new growth. My grace is like that rain. It softens the hardened places within you. It nourishes what was once brittle. My beloved child, grace is not permission to repeat the same mistake carelessly. It is empowerment to move forward without fear of being unloved. You cannot change yesterday, but you can choose how you respond to it today. You can choose humility over pride, growth over denial, trust over shame. When regret tries to define you, answer it with truth. I have learned. I have grown. I am covered by grace. You do not have to relive every error to prove you are sorry. Your changed behavior is evidence of transformation. Your softened heart is evidence of maturity. My grace covers what you regret. It stands between your past and your future, refusing to let one destroy the other. So breathe, my beloved child. Release the weight of if only. Lift your head without fear. Walk forward not as someone hiding from their history, but as someone refined by it. You are not condemned. You are corrected, loved, and guided. And my grace will always be greater than your regret. My beloved child, there are battles you face that no one else fully understands. Some of them are external, conflicts, pressures, responsibilities. But many of them are internal. Thoughts that war against your peace, doubts that question your worth, temptations that test your discipline. You wake up some days already feeling like you are in a fight. But hear me clearly, you do not fight alone. You may feel isolated in your struggles. You may believe that no one sees the effort it takes just to hold yourself together. But I see every silent battle. I see the restraint it takes not to react in anger. I see the courage it takes to keep showing up when you feel discouraged. I see the discipline it takes to choose growth over comfort. And I am not watching from a distance. I am with you in the fight. Think of a child learning to carry something heavy. The child grips it tightly, straining with all their strength. The father does not simply stand and observe. He reaches down and places his hands beneath the load, lifting most of the weight while allowing the child to feel involved. The child believes they are carrying it alone, but they are not. That is what I do for you. When you feel like giving up, it is my strength beneath your weakness. When you choose integrity over compromise, it is my spirit steadying your resolve. When you resist temptation, it is my presence empowering your will. You are not expected to conquer everything in your own power. There are moments when your mind becomes your battlefield. Negative thoughts rush in. You question your progress. You replay failures. You imagine worst-case scenarios. It can feel overwhelming, like standing in a storm of your own thoughts. but you have authority over what you allow to remain. Not every thought deserves your agreement. Not every fear deserves your attention. You can pause. You can breathe. You can speak truth over yourself even when emotions fluctuate. And when you do, I stand with you. My beloved child, spiritual battles are real, but so is spiritual support. You are surrounded by help you cannot see. Guidance, protection, strength, all flowing toward you. Just because something is invisible does not mean it is absent. The wind is unseen, yet you feel its force. In the same way, my presence moves around you constantly. There are days when the battle feels relentless. You think, why is this so hard? But difficulty does not mean defeat. Resistance does not mean failure. Every time you choose to stand, even when tired, you are winning more than you realize. Imagine a soldier in training. The drills are exhausting. The exercises push them beyond comfort. But each challenge builds endurance. Each test sharpens skill. When real conflict arises, the soldier is prepared because of the unseen training. Your challenges are strengthening you. You may not always feel victorious. Some days you simply survive. But survival in the face of pressure is still progress. Do not dismiss small victories. Choosing calm instead of panic is victory. Choosing honesty instead of hiding is victory. Choosing hope instead of despair is victory. And you do not achieve these alone. When you feel weak, ask for my strength. When you feel confused, ask for my wisdom. When you feel overwhelmed, ask for my peace. I do not tire of your requests. I do not grow impatient with your dependence. Dependence on me is not weakness. It is wisdom. My beloved child, the fight you are in will not define you by exhaustion. It will define you by endurance. And endurance grows through partnership. Lean into me when you feel the pressure rise. Let my presence steady your breathing. Let my truth silence the lies that try to overwhelm you. You are not abandoned in your battles. You are accompanied. You are supported. You are strengthened from within. You do not fight alone. And because you do not fight alone, you will not fall alone. Stand firm. I am with you. My beloved child, after seasons of struggle, endurance, and quiet growth, I want you to lift your eyes with expectation. Not fear. Not doubt. Expectation. Because what is ahead of you is not only refinement, it is blessing. Prepare for unexpected blessings. You have grown used to bracing yourself for what might go wrong. When something begins to go well, part of you waits for it to collapse. You hesitate to celebrate too soon. You guard your excitement, afraid of disappointment. But I am inviting you into a different posture, not one of anxiety, but one of readiness. Blessings do not always arrive in the form you imagine. Sometimes they come disguised as new opportunities that stretch you. Sometimes they come as new relationships that challenge your old assumptions. Sometimes they come as ideas, creativity, or sudden clarity that shifts your direction. You have been so focused on surviving that you forgot to anticipate thriving. Imagine a farmer who has planted seeds faithfully through difficult seasons. The ground was hard. The weather was uncertain. Yet the farmer continued to sow. When the harvest season finally arrives, it would be foolish for the farmer to doubt that crops will grow. The seeds were planted. The work was done. Growth was inevitable. You have planted seeds of faith, of discipline, of humility, of resilience. Do not be surprised when those seeds begin to produce fruit. Unexpected blessings often follow seasons of unseen faithfulness. The kindness you showed when no one noticed. the integrity you maintained when compromise was easier, the patience you practiced when frustration tempted you. None of it was wasted. My beloved child, blessings are not always loud. They do not always come with dramatic announcements. Sometimes they arrive quietly, a new sense of peace in your heart, an open door you did not chase, an answer that comes gently rather than explosively. You may receive affirmation from places you least expected. You may discover opportunities that align perfectly with your growth. You may experience restoration in areas you thought were permanently broken. But here is the key: you must be ready to receive. If you constantly expect loss, you may overlook gain. If you remain guarded against joy, you may struggle to embrace it fully. Preparation for blessing is not about striving, it is about openness. Imagine someone standing outside with hands tightly clenched. Even if a gift is placed before them, they cannot receive it until they open their hands. In the same way, release the habit of expecting disappointment. Loosen your grip on pessimism. You are allowed to hope again. Unexpected blessings also require humility. When good things begin to unfold, remain grounded. Remember the lessons you learned in difficult seasons. Let gratitude guide you. Blessings that are received with humility are sustained with wisdom. My beloved child, I am not finished surprising you. There are conversations ahead that will restore your confidence. There are breakthroughs ahead that will affirm your persistence. There are moments ahead where you will pause and say, "I did not see this coming." But I did. You may think your life had been defined by struggle, but struggle was not the conclusion. It was preparation. Preparation for capacity. Preparation for responsibility. Preparation for growth. Do not fear blessing. Do not sabotage progress because you are unfamiliar with ease. You have endured enough to appreciate what is coming. Remain faithful. Remain grounded. Remain grateful. When unexpected blessings arrive, receive them without suspicion. Celebrate them without fear. Stir them with wisdom. My beloved child, lift your head. The season ahead carries more than survival. It carries reward. And what is coming will not erase your past, but it will affirm that your perseverance was worth it. Prepare your heart. I am bringing goodness into your life in ways you did not anticipate. My beloved child, as blessings begin to approach and clarity starts to rise, I must give you a tender but powerful instruction. Guard your heart tonight. Your heart is precious. It is the center of your emotions, your desires, your decisions. From it flow your words, your reactions, your choices. When your heart is unsettled, everything feels unstable. When your heart is at peace, even chaos loses its power. You have allowed many voices to speak into your heart. Some of them were helpful. Some of them were careless. Some were critical. Some were fearful. Over time, those voices layered themselves inside you, and without realizing it, you began to repeat them to yourself. Guarding your heart does not mean shutting people out completely. It means being wise about what you allow to shape your inner world. Imagine your heart as a garden. Seeds are constantly being planted through conversations, through media, through memories, through thoughts. If you do not pay attention, weeds can grow alongside healthy plants. And weeds, if left unchecked, can choke what was meant to flourish. Tonight, I am asking you to examine what you are allowing to take root. Are you feeding your mind with negativity? Are you replaying old hurts without offering forgiveness? Are you listening to voices that constantly compare, criticize, or stir insecurity? If so, your heart may feel heavier than necessary. My beloved child, you cannot control every voice that speaks around you, but you can control which voices you meditate on. Guard your heart from bitterness. When someone disappoints you, it is easy to rehearse the offense, but bitterness slowly poisons your peace. It affects how you view others. It clouds your judgment. It steals joy. Guard your heart from envy. When you see others succeed, celebrate them instead of shrinking yourself. Comparison distorts perspective. It makes you forget the unique path I have assigned to you. Guard your heart from fear-driven narratives. Not every worst-case scenario deserves your attention. Fear grows when you give it repeated focus. Think of a watchman standing at the gate of a city. His responsibility is not to attack every passerby, but to discern who may enter and who must remain outside. In the same way, you are the watchman of your thoughts. You decide what is allowed to stay. My beloved child, protecting your heart also means nurturing it. Fill it with truth. Fill it with gratitude. Fill it with moments of stillness. Spend time reflecting on what is good, what is honorable, what brings peace. What you focus on will grow. When anxiety tries to rise, pause and breathe deeply. Remind yourself of my faithfulness. Recall the times I have sustained you. Speak life over yourself instead of repeating doubt. Guarding your heart is not a one-time decision. It is daily stewardship. There will always be opportunities to let negativity in. There will always be situations that test your patience. But you do not have to absorb everything you encounter. You can choose to respond instead of react. My beloved child, tonight is important because you are at a sensitive point of growth. When new strength begins to form within you, opposition may try to discourage it. Protect the progress you have made. Protect the peace you have cultivated. You have worked too hard to return to old patterns of thinking. Guard your heart with wisdom. Guard it with prayer. Guard it with intention. Not out of fear, but out of respect for the value it holds. Your heart is where dreams are nurtured. It is where courage is born. It is where faith takes root. Do not allow careless influences to trample what I am cultivating inside you. My beloved child, protect your inner world. When your heart remains steady, your steps will follow with confidence. And as you guard what I have entrusted to you, you will walk forward stronger, calmer, and more aligned with the peace I desire for you. My beloved child, now that you are guarding your heart, there is another powerful truth I must place in your hands. Your words carry weight. What you speak over your life shapes how you experience it. Tonight, I am calling you to speak life over your situation. You have grown accustomed to describing your struggles in heavy language. You say, "Nothing ever works out for me." You say, "I'm always behind." You say, "This will probably fail." And while those words may feel honest in the moment, they are planting seeds. Words are seeds. When you repeatedly speak defeat, you reinforce it in your mind. When you constantly describe yourself as incapable, you strengthen that belief. Your tongue has the power to either water hope or feed fear. I am not asking you to deny reality. I am asking you to redefine it through faith. Imagine standing in a dark room. You could describe the darkness over and over again, how thick it feels, how isolating it is. Or you could reach for the light switch. Speaking life is like turning on that switch. It does not pretend darkness never existed. It introduces light into it. You may say, "But my situation is difficult." Yes, it may be. Yet difficulty is not final. Instead of saying, "This will never change," begin to say, "This season is teaching me." Instead of saying, "I am not enough," begin to say, "I am growing into who I am meant to be." Your words align your heart. When you speak life, you remind yourself of truth. You remind yourself that I am with you. You remind yourself that growth is happening. You remind yourself that challenges are temporary. Think of a gardener tending to plants. If the gardener constantly pours salt into the soil, nothing healthy will grow. But if the gardener waters the soil with care, life begins to flourish. Your words are like water to your inner garden. My beloved child, there are moments when negative speech feels natural because you are tired. You vent frustration. You repeat worst-case scenarios. And sometimes you believe that speaking negatively prepares you for disappointment. But preparation through pessimism only drains your strength. Instead, prepare through hope. Speak strength even when you feel weak. Speak peace even when anxiety tries to rise. Speak possibility even when uncertainty surrounds you. You are not powerless in your own story. When you declare, I will endure this, you build resilience. When you say, I trust that something good can come from this, you create space for perspective. When you affirm, I am not alone, you reinforce connection. Your words do not manipulate outcomes magically, but they shape your mindset. And your mindset influences your actions. And your actions influence your direction. My beloved child, do not curse what I am cultivating. If you are in a season of growth, do not call it failure. If you are in a season of waiting, do not call it abandonment. If you are in a season of rebuilding, do not call it ruin. Call it transformation. Call it preparation. Call it strengthening. There is authority in your agreement. When you agree with truth instead of fear, you align yourself with my perspective. Begin speaking gratitude over small progress. Say, I am thankful for what I have learned. Begin speaking hope over uncertainty. Say, this is not the end. Begin speaking identity over insecurity. Say, I am chosen and capable. It may feel unnatural at first, but repetition builds belief. My beloved child, your situation may not change overnight, but your experience of it will change when your words shift. You will walk with more confidence. You will think with greater clarity. You will act with stronger intention. Let your voice become a source of strength rather than doubt. Speak life over your home. Speak life over your work. Speak life over your relationships. Speak life over yourself. And as you align your speech with truth, you will notice something powerful. Your heart grows steadier, your mind grows calmer, and your path becomes clearer. Your words matter. Use them wisely. My beloved child, you have been strong. You have guarded your heart. You have spoken life. You have endured storms and faced fears. But now, I am inviting you into something that may feel unfamiliar to you. Not striving, not fighting, not rebuilding. Rest. Rest in my presence. You have learned to measure your worth by productivity. If you accomplish much, you feel valuable. If you slow down, you sometimes feel guilty. Even when your body is still, your mind keeps working, analyzing, planning, worrying. But you were not created to live in constant motion. Rest is not weakness. Rest is trust. Imagine a child falling asleep in the arms of a loving father. The child does not stay awake to monitor the house. The child does not worry about tomorrow's needs. The child simply relaxes, secure in the knowledge that someone stronger is watching over them. That is the posture I am inviting you into. You have carried concerns that were never meant to be yours alone. You have tried to solve everything in your own strength. You have replayed conversations, predicted outcomes, and rehearsed worst-case scenarios. But tonight, I am asking you to loosen your grip. Release the need to control tomorrow. Rest does not mean neglecting responsibility. It means recognizing that you are not the ultimate provider, protector, or planner. I am. When you rest in my presence, you allow your nervous system to settle. Your breathing slows. Your thoughts soften. Your heart feels less guarded. In that stillness, healing deepens. Clarity sharpens. Strength is renewed. You cannot pour from an empty vessel. If you continue pushing without pause, exhaustion will cloud your judgment. Irritability will replace patience. Fear will grow louder. But when you rest, you refill. You realign. You remember that you are supported. My beloved child, create moments of quiet with me, even if they are brief. Sit in silence without demanding answers. Breathe deeply without rushing to the next task. Let my presence surround you like calm water. You may not always feel something dramatic. Rest is often subtle. It feels like peace gradually replacing tension. It feels like clarity gently replacing confusion. It feels like hope quietly returning. Think of the earth after heavy rain. The ground becomes saturated. The air feels clean. The dust settles. In the same way, my presence washes over your weary spirit and refreshes it. There are battles you do not need to fight tonight. There are problems you do not need to solve before sleeping. There are conversations that can wait until morning. Trust that I am working even while you rest. You do not earn my love by constant effort. You do not maintain my approval through nonstop productivity. You are loved because you are mine. When anxiety tries to rise as you attempt to rest, remind yourself that I am holding what you cannot. When guilt whispers that you should be doing more, remember that restoration requires stillness. Rest is preparation. Athletes do not train every hour without pause. Muscles grow stronger during recovery. In the same way, your spirit strengthens when you allow yourself to recharge. My beloved child, lay down the weight of expectation tonight. Lay down the burden of proving yourself. Lay down the fear of falling behind. Come close. Sit with me. Let my peace settle into your bones. You do not have to carry the world. You do not have to anticipate every challenge. You do not have to remain on guard at all times. Rest in my presence. Let your heart breathe again. And as you do, you will wake stronger, clearer, and steadier than before. You are safe here. My beloved child, as you begin to rest in my presence, something beautiful is happening beneath the surface. While you breathe, while you release control, while you quiet your mind, I am writing a new chapter in your life. You may still be reading the last lines of an old chapter. You may still feel the emotions attached to what has ended. But understand this, the page has turned. Not every chapter begins with celebration. Some begin with uncertainty. The previous chapter may have closed with disappointment, confusion, or even loss. You did not expect certain endings. You did not plan for certain shifts. Yet endings are not proof of failure. They are signals of transition. You are not stuck in your past storyline. Imagine an author carefully crafting a story. Each chapter builds upon the last. Some chapters contain conflict. Others reveal growth. Some feel heavy. Others feel hopeful. But the author never abandons the story midway. Every page serves a purpose in reaching the final vision. I am the author of your journey. There were lessons in your last chapter that you needed. There were strengths formed in those pages. There were truths revealed that shaped your character. But you are not meant to relive that chapter forever. You may feel uncertain about what comes next because the details are not yet clear. The new chapter feels blank. But blank pages are not empty. They are full of possibility. My beloved child, do not cling to old paragraphs simply because they are familiar. Let the story move forward. There are new relationships waiting to be written. New opportunities waiting to unfold. New insights waiting to emerge. The version of you stepping into this chapter is wiser, steadier, and more self-aware than before. You have grown through the storms. You have healed from hidden wounds. You have released what no longer serves you. All of that preparation was not random. It was shaping you for what comes next. A new chapter does not erase your history. It builds upon it. Think of a sunrise after a long night. The darkness does not disappear instantly, but light gradually fills the sky. Colors shift. Shadows soften. The landscape looks different, even though it is the same place. In the same way, your life may still contain familiar surroundings, but your perspective is changing. You are seeing with new eyes. There may be chapters you wish had lasted longer. Seasons of comfort you were not ready to leave. But growth often requires movement. If the story never advanced, you would remain in the same emotional space. My beloved child, do not fear the unfamiliar pages ahead. Trust that I am intentional with every sentence. There will be moments of joy written into this chapter. Moments of clarity that feel refreshing. There will be challenges too, but they will refine you further. And through it all, you will not walk alone. When doubt whispers, "What if this chapter is harder?" answer it with truth. I am not the same person I was before. You have more wisdom now, more resilience, more discernment, more faith. I am writing restoration into your story. I am writing courage into your decisions. I am writing peace into your heart. You do not need to rush ahead to read the ending. Trust me with the unfolding. Live each page with intention. Remain open to the unexpected turns that carry purpose. My beloved child, the ink is not dry on your life. It is flowing. Release the need to rewrite what has already been completed. Focus on aligning with what I am composing now. A new chapter has begun. Walk into it with confidence, knowing that the one who guided you through the last pages is still holding the pen. My beloved child, there are moments in your life that quietly become landmarks. They do not always arrive with celebration or spectacle. Sometimes they come as a whisper in the dark, a realization settling gently into your spirit, a decision made in stillness. Tonight is one of those moments. Remember this night. You may not fully understand its significance yet. It may feel like any other evening, another message heard, another quiet reflection. But something within you has shifted. Something has aligned. You have paused. You have listened. You have allowed truth to sink deeper than distraction. This is not ordinary. There are nights when you drift to sleep unchanged, carrying the same fears, the same doubts, the same heaviness. But tonight, you are not the same person you were when this began. You have faced your fears. You have acknowledged your wounds. You have recognized your growth. You have chosen to release what binds you. That matters. Imagine a traveler reaching a crossroads and deciding, firmly and quietly, to take a new path. To an outside observer, it looks like a simple turn. But for the traveler, it marks a new direction entirely. Years later, they may look back and say, that was the moment everything began to change. Tonight is your crossroads. Not because everything will transform overnight, but because your posture has changed, your awareness has deepened, your willingness has grown. You have opened your heart more fully. Mark this moment in your memory. When doubt returns, remember this night. When old patterns attempt to resurface, remember this night. When fear tries to convince you that nothing has changed, remember this night. This is the night you chose clarity over confusion. The night you chose trust over anxiety. The night you chose to listen instead of ignore. There is power in intentional remembrance. Think of how you remember significant days in your life, graduations, commitments, breakthroughs, recoveries. You look back and see how those moments shaped your path. Tonight may not carry a visible ceremony, but it carries spiritual significance. You have aligned your heart with my voice. My beloved child, transformation often begins quietly. It begins with awareness. It deepens with decision. It grows through consistency. Tonight is the seed of something greater. You may wake tomorrow and still face responsibilities. You may encounter familiar challenges, but you will face them differently because your perspective has shifted. When frustration rises, you will recall the peace you felt here. When uncertainty appears, you will remember the assurance spoken into you. When temptation whispers, you will remember the strength you claimed. Tonight is not an emotional high. It is a foundation. Foundations are not always visible once the structure rises, but they are essential. This moment of reflection, surrender, and clarity will support decisions you make in the days ahead. My beloved child, do not let this night fade into routine. Protect what you have received. Reflect on it. Write about it if you must. Speak about it. Anchor it in your memory. You have experienced alignment. You have sensed my nearness. You have chosen to respond. That is sacred. One day, when you look back at your journey, you may recognize this as the evening when your direction became clearer, when your confidence strengthened, when your heart settled. Remember this night not as a fleeting emotion, but as a turning point. You stopped. You listened. You responded. And that decision will echo further than you realize. Hold it close. Carry it forward. Let it guide you. This night is a marker, and it will not be forgotten. My beloved child, you have come so far in this moment. You have listened. You have reflected. You have allowed truth to settle into places that were once restless. But now I must speak with loving firmness. Do not ignore me again. Not because I seek control, not because I demand perfection, but because ignoring my voice leads you back into unnecessary confusion. You know what it feels like to sense my prompting and brush it aside. You have done it before. A gentle nudge to slow down, and you kept rushing. A quiet conviction to step away from something, and you justified staying. A whisper to speak up or reach out, and you hesitated until the moment passed. And afterward, you felt it. That subtle ache. That awareness that you missed an opportunity for alignment. I did not withdraw from you in those moments. I remained near. But you felt the difference between walking with clarity and walking slightly out of step. My beloved child, ignoring my voice does not make me disappear. It only makes your path more complicated. Think of a traveler using a compass. If the traveler notices the needle pointing north but decides to walk in another direction anyway, the compass does not stop functioning. It continues to point true. But the farther the traveler walks against it, the more difficult the journey becomes. My voice is your compass. It may not always give you every detail, but it keeps you aligned. When I say pause, it is for your protection. When I say release, it is for your freedom. When I say move forward, it is for your growth. There will be days ahead when distraction tries to reclaim your focus. Noise will compete for your attention. Old habits will attempt to reassert themselves. And in those moments, you will have a choice. Listen or ignore. Ignoring me may feel easier in the short term. It may allow you to avoid discomfort or delay change. But long-term peace comes from obedience, even when obedience requires courage. My beloved child, I am not asking for flawless execution. I'm asking for willingness. You will not always interpret every prompting perfectly. You will not respond instantly every time. But do not harden your heart when conviction arises. Respond quickly. Adjust gently. Stay sensitive. The more you listen, the clearer my voice becomes. The more you respond, the stronger your discernment grows. Alignment is not built in a single night. It is built through daily attentiveness. You do not need dramatic signs to confirm my presence. Often, it is the quiet conviction, the steady peace, the inner hesitation that guides you. Remember how you felt when you were most aligned, calm, steady, purposeful. That feeling is not accidental. It is the result of walking in step with me. When you drift, you feel unsettled. When you resist, you feel tension. Those are signals, not punishments. My beloved child, I love you too much to remain silent when you are stepping toward unnecessary hardship. When I say stop, it is protection. When I say go, it is provision. Do not ignore the gentle course corrections. Do not silence the inner prompting because it challenges your comfort. Do not delay obedience until circumstances force it. You are stronger than you were before. You are more aware. You are more discerning. Carry this attentiveness into tomorrow. Let it guide your conversations. Let it shape your decisions. Let it guard your heart. Ignoring my voice once may feel small, but repeated indifference builds distance, and I desire closeness with you. Stay close. Stay listening. Stay willing. My beloved child, the path ahead is filled with possibility, but it unfolds most clearly when you remain attentive to my guidance. Do not ignore me again, not because you fear consequences, but because you value peace. Walk in alignment. Walk in awareness. Walk in trust. And you will find that my voice, once faint, becomes your constant companion. My beloved child, you have reached the end of this message, but you have not reached the end of my presence. If anything, you are more aware of it now. Tonight was not about fear. It was not about pressure. It was about awakening. It was about reminding you that you are seen, guided, corrected in love, and never abandoned. You stop. You listen. You opened your heart. And in doing so, you allowed truth to settle deeper than noise. You are not walking into tomorrow alone. The fears you faced, the wounds you acknowledged, the burdens you released, the hope you reclaimed, none of it was wasted. I have been with you in every storm. I have been whispering in every quiet moment. I have been protecting you in ways you did not see. You are held. When you feel weak, my strength will steady you. When you feel uncertain, my wisdom will guide you. When you feel tempted to return to old patterns, my spirit will remind you of your growth. When you feel tired, my presence will become your rest. You are guided. Even when the path is not fully visible, I am already where you are going. I walk ahead of you and beside you. I correct you without condemning you. I lead you without humiliating you. My guidance is not harsh. It is faithful. You are loved. not because you performed perfectly, not because you never doubted, not because you never struggled. You are loved because you are mine. That love does not fluctuate with your emotions. It does not withdraw when you stumble. It does not weaken when you question. Carry this assurance with you. And now, my beloved child, as this message has reached your heart, I am calling others into the same awakening. When you choose to support this mission through Super Thanks, through membership, or through the PayPal link placed in the description and shown in the QR code, you are not funding content. You are lighting lamps in dark places. I have said, let your light shine before others, and through your giving, you become part of that shining. This is your moment to respond not out of obligation, but out of alignment. When you sow into this work, you plant seeds that awaken weary souls and draw lost hearts back to me. Do not hesitate when I am prompting you now. Your generosity becomes a river that carries my word farther than you can see. As you give, I breathe provision over your home and peace over your future. What you release in faith, I multiply with purpose. Step forward in obedience. Support this mission and become a vessel through which my voice continues to reach my beloved children. My beloved child, as you close this moment, do not forget what you felt here. Do not forget the peace that replaced anxiety. Do not forget the clarity that quieted confusion. Do not forget the strength that rose within you. You are not the same as when this began. Walk forward with confidence. Walk forward with humility. Walk forward with trust. I am your Father. I am your refuge. I am your guide. And you are forever held in my love. Amen.